We're back, and it is the recap from week 38 of the Comedy Accelerator Workshop in downtown Austin, Texas, every Sunday, 3 to 5, where we work on turning people into viable professional stand-ups. It's essentially what it's become. At some point I'll probably rename this the Standup Accelerator because it's definitely a stand-up workshop at this point here in Austin. May 10th, it was Mother's Day. There were still 26 people there, so it tells you what people think about their mothers in Austin. In the career swath of time, we start out by talking again about who made money this week. And Rock mentioned that he's going to be paid to write jokes for Jo Ellis's monthly talk show that is at the Creek, Friendly Fire, which is cool. I think Jo, is approaching things very much like a professional as she breaks into stand-up. If you don't know her background, look up Jo Ellis comedy. She's trans. She was in the military, flew a Black Hawk helicopter, got kicked out by Trump and decided to go into comedy and has been on Kill Tony twice. So she now lives in Austin and she's very, consciously building a career, which I think is great. Then we talked about networking. I had an example that happened this past week of long-term networking, which I do a lot of. Like, I consider entertainment friendships to also be networking friendships. And I think if you do them right, that's what they are. You don't always get things back, you don't always give things, but it's part of entertainment and entertainment culture and community. So I have a friend, Claude, that I've known for well over 20 years, who met my son when he was like a month old and has known my daughter and hung with my family. And we've done a bunch of projects off and on over the years. And Claude's a really good editor and has his own post-production house in LA, has directed some projects, and is right now involved in a show for BET that taped a bunch of comedians. He's going to roll them out in short form. He was talking about how much work it was. And because Zeke, my son, does video editing for gaming, I suggested we'll throw one to Zeke because I'm sure Zeke can handle it and he'd do a really good job. And I've hooked Zeke and Claude up multiple times that for coffees, to talk on the phone. Claude has given really good advice, career advice about editing to Zeke. So they have a relationship. And Claude was like, yeah, that'll take some of the pressure off of me. So he's going to throw Zeke a TV edit, which gives Zeke a TV credit, and now he can apply for other TV editing jobs if that's what he wants. So that's what I talk about, like the first thing that's super valuable and will give you a career in stand-up without a doubt is being great on stage. Like having a great bit, great material, like the quality of your stand-up is your first calling card. But right after it is how good are you at networking, at being a good hang, at being a good relationship, at being somebody that has value and gives value to others. So you always need to be thinking about that. I also talked about investing in your own career. I think it helps for stand-ups to think of themselves in some ways, if you're serious about it and you want to make money at it, as entrepreneurs, because you are building a solo business, super solo in a lot of ways. And you can't really do that with nothing. Like, you can't just bootstrap everything. It's not a bad idea to put some money together, find some investment. I don't know, maybe hopefully you have parents that have money, or you got some money put away, or you have another job that will actually fund your stand-up as well. And a good example is Sonia, who was here a couple weeks ago and headlined our show, and is an early headliner out of Montreal that I've worked with as a mentor. She spent money to come here for a week to hang out and get into the comedy scene here again and to try to get on Kill Tony. And then she flew to LA for the Netflix's A Joke Festival. And she wasn't booked anywhere, but when she got there and started hanging around and talking to people and seeing people she knew, she got on 2 different shows. So she got to perform twice in the Netflix as A Joke Festival and got to hang out with a lot of people. And again, that's not a game I like to play anymore. I'm past kind of the social hang in stand-up. But if you're building a career and you're just busting into it, it's great. And it's fun. It's fun to meet a lot of these people. And it's horrifying because, they're also, some of them are horrible people, just like everywhere else. So invest some money in it. Like actually gather some capital, give yourself a chance to, if you need to buy social media help, if you need to buy writing help, if you need to travel, you got to have some kind of resources. And you can cheap it up, and comics do. They live in their house, or in their car, and their van, and tents, and everything else. But at some point, it's a business. You're going to have to spend some money. I also mentioned that I have kind of a bipolar thing with stand-up and stand-ups in general. I'm absolutely supportive, totally positive. I encourage everybody to do stand-up. I literally will tell everybody who expresses any interest in it, yeah, get on stage. It's fun. And I want people to grow and get better, and I'm involved in trying to make that happen. And I usually don't charge people for it on that side of the world, because I think stand-up is a very sort of touch and go game. I think it's a lot of people, it's right at their heart of their self-worth, and I'd rather just help if I can, and charging for them when they're not making money doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But on the other pole, I cannot stand mediocrity, like in anything really, but especially in comedy. Bad comedy or mediocre comedy, weak comedy, is just really, I find it offensive. It's offensive to the audience. It's definitely offensive to my sensibilities, because I like really good stuff and I work really hard to try to make sure I'm involved in good stuff. So I attack it pretty hard. I'm Simon Cowell level, just early Simon Cowell, when he didn't actually care about what people thought about him. That if you're a derivative or underdeveloped or undercooked or overpraised, I'm going to pour word acid on all of that. But like, to me, it doesn't matter whether it is bad, it's whether you think it's good, even though it's bad, and whether you leave it bad instead of working to make it good. If you make a commitment to getting better and making your stuff good, I'm in. But if you're not, you're strutting around and thinking you're great, I can't do it. So, bipolar. Then we switched and started working on our comedy character competition, which we're going to run for the next 3 weeks, which is 2 minutes to establish you're an amazing character, comedy character on stage that everybody will understand and like and be riveted by and interested in and want to hear more from. Can you do that in 2 minutes? You can, but you have to understand what you're doing, and you have to build it so that it's really pushing a very interesting comic character. You can do that by looking at your name, like picking a name that people can actually remember. Most stand-ups, people can't even remember their names. Like Chad Daniels. I really like Chad. I think he's a great comic. He's been around for a long time. I've never met him. But every time I try to think of him, I can't remember his name. At least Nate Bargatze, that has a rhythm to it, and a pop with Bargatze. So, and Nate is pretty memorable. So try to figure out, do you need a different name? And a look. Should your look back up the character that you want people to read when you walk on stage? It should. Like, it should be, those things should come together. In most entertainment, costuming and character setting is extremely important. And in stand-up, they just kind of blow by it for the most part, until you get to higher levels and you see people that have had consultants. Like Ron White had a consultant come in and took him from being a cowboy comic, a Texas comic, or Oklahoma, I think he's from Houston, into a lounge singer comic, like with the turtleneck and the jacket and the glass of whiskey, which universalized him. So, you get those kind of changes in character, and it can make a huge difference. And building character means you have 2 basic options for communicating your character to the audience. You can do it explicitly, which means you go up and you tell them directly who you are with biographical material. You walk up and literally like, hi, I'm like, I think Pat this week walked up and said, I'm the creepy guy. Like, you got it instantly, okay? Where he goes from there is, kind of unpredictable, but you got the character right away. So you can do it with names explicitly, or you can do it implicitly, where you don't come out and tell us who you are, you show us who you are. So if you're weird, you come up on stage and you act weird. If you're intense and you're a ranter and attacker, then you come up and you show that. Both of those are important. Like with implicit, you gotta do it with your face and your voice and your body and the emotions that you use and all these things. And trying to get those channels turned on can be really hard for comics who are used to just talking and letting the material do the work. Tom in the workshop has said many times that he struggles with, he's built a corporate persona that is very friendly and very nice and very positive, but he doesn't always feel like that. He doesn't want to do that as a comedy character. He has a hard time intensifying and breaking out of the shell that he's created. So we worked on some of that this week, where I kind of got up and like, come on, give it to us. Like, give us show us anger and frustration in your body. So yeah, implicit and explicit. For the exercise this week, we did a bio exercise where I had everybody write down what I would call a bio wheel of star points. Star points are like 1 or 2 word or a short sentence about you that biographically in your life that tells people something that makes them go, what? Really? Tell me more about that. And everybody's got them. You just don't usually collect them and think about turning them from assets into, turning them into actual script. And so, for example, everybody wrote down theirs, and then people worked on them on stage. Like Erin went up and talked about that she's half black, half white, but she's a terrible black friend because she doesn't actually know black culture. So things like that, where you're using demographics, what gender and race and age and all those things that people are going to impose on you and imprint on you instantly, but you take control of them, redefine them, and then they become a character for you. So yeah, it's going to be super fun, I think, doing the contest, see what people come up with, how they overcome the challenge of showing that in 2 minutes and doing it vividly in a positive way so that we get it. Finally, we went over to the saloon. It was, I think, our 11th or 12th time there doing a show. I was exhausted. I kind of cut out mid-show, but the show was going well. And Destiny headlined, and I was told did a great job. She said she enjoyed it. Pam, or Pamalicious, which is what she renamed herself during the workshop, hosted. It was fun. So it was all good. So next week, comedy character competition. I will post rules and instructions and a sign-up sheet in the right in the group for Comedy Accelerator. So make sure you get on there and check that out. And finally, once again, I have launched the Comedy Writers Colony. It's got a digital presence. There's a Facebook page and a Facebook private group. So go sign up for the private group, follow the page. There's a YouTube, everything, threads. There's going to be places for you to get information. And this coming Saturday, we're going to start a writer's hang where I'll do this at my house, and I'll have a structure for it, but it's basically people are going to get together completely with the idea of material. You're not going to perform. It's not everybody works on everybody else's stuff. It's going to be designed specifically to teach you some writer things and let you apply them to your own stuff. So that'll be fun. We'll see how that goes for the first week. Again, everything's in evolution. I will see you again next week.